The most powerful alien in the galaxy, Xylithar the Omnipotent, was a name that struck fear across countless star systems. A being capable of extinguishing suns and terraforming entire planets with a flick of its clawed appendage. It had united warring factions, toppled tyrannical empires, and brought balance to a chaotic galaxy, yet its name carried an enigma that baffled even the most intelligent species. Every year, without fail, Xylithar would vanish from the galactic spotlight and travel to a seemingly insignificant planet, Earth. For centuries, this peculiar ritual had puzzled the galactic community. Earth, a backwater planet with primitive technology and a population that barely understood interstellar travel, was the least likely candidate for such attention. And yet, Xylithar would arrive there during Earth's winter season, bypassing security protocols and defense systems with ease. It was no invasion. There were no displays of power, no destruction, no demands. Instead, the omnipotent alien engaged in an act that defied every expectation. It delivered presence. At first, the galactic elite believed it was a ploy. A species as mighty as Xylithar had no logical reason to concern itself with humanity's customs. Some theorized it was reconnaissance, a way to subtly infiltrate the species for future domination. Others believed it was a punishment, perhaps a form of psychological warfare, though the lack of collateral damage quickly disproved that. Even Earth's governments, after overcoming their initial panic, observed the alien's actions with disbelief. It was almost laughable to see such an imposing figure leave intricately wrapped gifts on doorsteps, under trees, and in stockings hung by the hearth. But this act was far from random. Xylithar was deliberate, precise. It followed a pattern that aligned perfectly with a human tradition called Christmas. Gifts varied, from simple toys to advanced medical devices that baffled human scientists for decades. To the children, Xylithar's presents were indistinguishable from magic. To the adults, they were miracles. Yet, Xylithar never lingered. The alien remained a silent, towering figure in its dark robes, disappearing into the cold night sky as swiftly as it arrived. Speculation ran rampant. Was this some galactic satire? A mockery of human culture? Or something deeper, more profound? While humanity celebrated this mysterious benefactor, the rest of the galaxy observed in confusion. Xylithar was an anomaly, defying everything known about interstellar politics and power. Why would the galaxy's most powerful entity, a being whose decisions shaped civilizations, partake in something as trivial as delivering gifts to humans? What secret did this planet hold that compelled Xylithar to return every year, despite its obligations to maintain the cosmic order? The answer, hidden deep in Xylithar's memory, was tied to an ancient debt, a debt it could never fully repay. Centuries ago, long before Xylithar ascended to its position as the galaxy's most powerful being, it had been something else entirely, a conqueror without restraint, a harbinger of ruin. It swept across star systems, devouring resources and subjugating planets, without mercy. Earth was one of many targets in its path, a world so insignificant at the time that it barely registered as more than it on its vast galactic map. Yet, what transpired there would forever alter Xylithar's destiny. When Xylithar arrived, humanity was in its early stages of industrialization, a fragile species struggling against its own limitations. By all measures, Earth should have been an easy conquest. Its defenses were non-existent, and its inhabitants posed no threat. Xylithar descended, ready to harvest the planet's resources and leave it a barren husk. However, what Xylithar encountered was entirely unexpected. The humans didn't fight. They didn't cower. Instead, they approached this towering alien figure with awe, curiosity, and, most strangely, kindness. A small village at the landing site became the focal point of this encounter. The humans, unaware of the peril they faced, extended gestures of hospitality. They offered food, sang songs, and, despite the language barrier, made every attempt to communicate their goodwill. Xylithar, at first, dismissed these actions as primitive rituals. But as the days passed, something began to shift. The humans didn't fear it. They welcomed it. Children approached without hesitation, offering crude drawings as gifts. Elders shared stories around fires, their faces illuminated by the warmth of their own humanity. The simplicity of their gestures, their capacity for compassion despite the unknown, stirred something within Xylithar, an emotion it had never known before. The turning point came on a particularly frigid night. A child, frail and sickly, approached Xylithar, carrying a small, hand-carved figurine. The child placed the gift in Xylithar's massive hand and smiled before collapsing from exhaustion. The villagers rushed to the child's aid, their collective concern palpable. Xylithar, witnessing this fragile creature's selflessness, acted instinctively. Drawing upon its vast power, it healed the child with a surge of energy. The relief and gratitude in the villagers' eyes were overwhelming. For the first time, Xylithar saw the value of a species not in its strength or technology, but in its capacity for love and connection. This experience marked the beginning of Xylithar's transformation. It spared Earth, abandoning its conquest and departing with a newfound respect for the species. Yet, even as it left, the memory of that night lingered. The child's act of kindness, the community's unity, and the warmth of their celebrations remained etched in Xylithar's mind. What began as a mission of destruction became a moment of introspection. Humanity had unknowingly taught the galaxy's most powerful being a lesson it would carry forever. Even the smallest acts of kindness could ripple across the universe. For Xylithar, Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a beacon of hope. Years turned into centuries, and Xylithar rose to power unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It became a force of balance, a ruler whose actions dictated the survival of entire civilizations. Conquering its darker impulses, Xylithar established itself as a mediator and protector of the galactic order. Yet, amidst the endless responsibilities of governance, it never forgot Earth or the humans who had shown it something it had never understood before: compassion. As its power grew, Xylithar began observing Earth from afar. Humanity, despite its struggles, displayed a resilience that fascinated the alien. They fought wars, endured hardships, and faced extinction more than once, yet somehow, they always found ways to rebuild. Beyond their flaws, they demonstrated an uncanny ability to form connections, share emotions, and unite in times of crisis. Xylithar could not help but admire this tenacity. And among their traditions, one stood out: a celebration of giving, gratitude, and joy that coincided with the time of Xylithar's first visit. Christmas. It wasn't just a cultural curiosity. For Xylithar, Christmas symbolized the very essence of what humanity had taught it. The act of giving without expecting anything in return, the gathering of loved ones, and the collective hope for a brighter future resonated deeply with the alien. It began to see Christmas not as a quaint human ritual, but as an embodiment of the values that had saved Earth on that cold night centuries ago. Driven by a sense of purpose it hadn't felt in millennia, Xylithar made a decision that baffled the Galactic Council. Every year, it would return to Earth, not as a conqueror, not as a ruler, but as a silent participant in humanity's tradition of giving. It started small, delivering gifts to the same village where it had first been changed. Over time, Xylithar's presence became a global phenomenon. Entire cities would wake to find unexplained treasures: food supplies for the hungry, cures for diseases, toys for children. Its gifts were precise, targeted to those who needed them most, yet never ostentatious. Xylithar's visits became a source of wonder and mystery. It never revealed itself fully, preferring to remain a shadowy figure in the night. Earth's leaders attempted to establish contact, but Xylithar evaded every effort, leaving behind only its presence. For humans, it became a tradition within a tradition, a story told to children, a miracle celebrated alongside their own customs. Some called it magic, others divine intervention. Few suspected the truth, that a being of unparalleled power was honoring humanity in the only way it knew how. Beyond Earth, the galaxy watched in confusion and awe. Other species struggled to understand why Xylithar, the omnipotent arbiter of the stars, would lower itself to partake in such a trivial act. They debated endlessly, speculating on its motives. Yet Xylithar ignored their chatter. This was not for them to understand. It was a promise kept, a lesson remembered, and a gesture of gratitude to the species that had once shown it the strength of kindness.